29 years old. When I got married 7 years ago, I didn't quit my job, and I've been working really hard. But ever since we had kids, I've become a full-time housewife. We have 2 kids. The first is Paul. He's a healthy boy, and he just turned 2 years old. And then the other one is still growing inside of me right now. It should be born any day now, and I can't wait to meet them. My due date is 2 months for now. They're kicking my stomach and really active, so I wonder if it's a boy. That's what I was thinking, but it turns out she's a girl. Well, she's definitely going to be a strong girl that's not going to lose to me. We're thinking about naming her Phoebe as of now. Our family lives in a luxury apartment building that has 30 floors. That being said, we only live on the 3rd floor. We're a normal family, and I'm sure we won't be able to live in a penthouse for the rest of our lives like the rich people. I heard that in this building, the penthouse was open until recently, but apparently the other day there was a husband and wife that just moved in. I wonder what kind of people they might be. If they're good people, maybe I'll become friends with them, and someday they might let me visit them in the penthouse. Even if I'm not going to live there, I'd love to experience it at least once in my life. On my way home from picking up Paul from preschool, when I walked into the entrance of the building, I saw a woman standing in front of the elevator that looked about 40 years old. When I looked more closely at her, she was dressed like she might be very wealthy, and I had never seen her face before. Could it be the 30th floor? I got a bit nervous, but for now I should greet her and try to see what's going on. Hello! The weather's great today, isn't it? Yeah, guess so. Hey, is that all she's gonna say? I decided to push a little bit more. You just moved here recently, isn't that right? My name is Penny. But then the woman scrunched her face at my words. Normally, if I said my name, I thought that maybe she would tell me her name in response. But, well, in this day and age, there's a personal information. So that's why I decided to muster up the courage and say, if you wouldn't mind, would you please tell me your name? But then the woman seemed a little shocked. It's Tabitha, why? That was all she said, and then she quickly turned her face and her back to me. Miss Tabitha, it is nice to meet you. I said that to her, but after that there was no conversation at all. In the end, we parted ways in silence, but even after I got out, I watched the numbers of the elevator go up. Because, I was curious. And just as I thought, it stopped right on the 30th floor, which means that woman, Miss Tabitha, is the person that moved into the 30th floor. But the impression I got was that she wasn't going to talk to me much and wasn't so friendly. Well, it could just be because it was the first time meeting. If the opportunity comes up again, I'm going to try talking to her again. The next day. Today was Saturday and there was no preschool. From the morning, I was trying to take Paul out to do some grocery shopping. When I pressed the button of the elevator, I saw that it was on its way down from the 30th floor. Oh my, maybe I'll be able to see her again. This time I'm going to try talking to her about all kinds of things. The elevator doors opened, and when I got on, it was indeed Miss Tabitha from yesterday. Oh my, Miss Tabitha, good morning. You're wearing lovely clothing again today. Sorry to make the elevator stop in the middle. When I spoke to her, instead of her cold attitude from yesterday, this time her attitude was almost like she was looking down on me. Not at all, it's fine. Because the path from the 30th floor down here is so long, so it's really just a second from the 3rd floor. Oh my, is this that thing? Could it be? Could it not be? One of those things called harassment, bullying, belittling? But it wouldn't be good for me to decide that just based off of this, right? So I pretended not to notice and I said this. Oh my, well, in that case, I'm glad. Well, for now, let's see how this goes. And then, about a week after that, one day, when I came home from picking up Paul from the preschool, Miss Tabitha was at the entrance again. She was looking around like she was lost. Is she in trouble about something? She seems like a hard person to ask, but maybe I should try talking to her. That's what I decided, so I got closer to her and I tried talking to her. Miss Tabitha, what a coincidence! I'm happy to be able to see you again. But then, just for an instant, Miss Tabitha looked like she had a shocked look on her face. But then she huffed at me and walked into the elevator. Hey, isn't it awful to completely ignore me? That's what I thought, but I decided to walk into the elevator and ride it with her. When I pressed the 3rd floor button, I heard her let out a huge sigh. Oh, seriously, give me a break from the local train. Huh? What did she say? When I turned around, Miss Tabitha was aggressively pressing the 30th button and was clearly pissed off. But even if you say that... Every single time you peasants get into this elevator, I can never go straight up to the top. Because you peasants on the lower floor, it's just going up and then stopping and a repeat of this. Seriously, so annoying. Give me a break. It's true that that might be the case, but she doesn't need to say it like that, because that was something that was out of everybody's control. Sheesh, you're on a lower floor, so you should be using the stairs. But even if you say that, I am pregnant and have a small child. The stairs are a bit... When I had a bitter look on my face, Miss Tabitha had a look on her face like she had just won something. Maybe it was my mistake that I tried to become friends with this person. Well then, if you'll excuse us first. I was irritated, and after I spat out those words, I got off the elevator. Well, even if Miss Tabitha says that to me, I'm definitely going to continue using this elevator. Being heavily pregnant and taking a 2-year-old up and down the stairs every day would be hard. More than anything, I don't understand the reason why I'm not allowed to use the elevator. Which means it's fine as long as I don't get in the elevator at the same time as Miss Tabitha. Simple as that. I just need to not see her, that's all. But you know, the universe is an interesting place. When you start thinking that you don't want to see this person, for some reason you end up seeing them. And for some reason I see her pretty frequently. I run into her almost every day. When I'm coming home from preschool pickup, or taking out the trash in the morning, or going out to do the groceries, all kinds of scenes. For some reason I end up with her. But then every single time, Miss Tabitha started being the one to talk to me. And well, every single time she would just brag and harass me. So far to get to the 30th floor, my goodness. Must be nice to be so close on the 3rd floor. Oh my, the lower floors only have 1 bedroom. How can you live your life in such a small space? Look at this. I bought it the other day. Of course, it's a brand new item, Miss Penny. Which brand logo is that bag from? Oh my, you bought the meat that was on sale at the supermarket again today? Pfft. Not only does she brag about how rich she is, she keeps saying things as if she's looking down on me for being poor. Well, it's not like we're poor anyway, but I also don't need to say anything back. Because if I keep saying anything back, there would be no end to it. But even still, I wonder if this woman has nothing else to talk about. It almost feels like she's making up to harass me. Well, even if we're not going to become friends, it seems it'll be good to keep some distance from her. I'm sure she'll eventually get tired of bragging all the time anyway. That's what I thought, so every single time I would see Miss Tabitha and have to listen to her bragging, I would just ignore her. And then a few weeks after that, one day... Oh, Miss Penny, hello! Oh my, looks like Paul is with you today. At the entrance, some of the other housewives from the building were talking. These ladies, every time that I would see them, we would blossom in conversation for a while, and time would just fly by in an instant. Miss Kathy was on the 4th floor, and Miss Sarah lives on the 6th floor. That reminds me, did you hear? Miss Penny! The rumor that Miss Kathy told me about was something so shocking that it made me question my ears. Apparently, Miss Tabitha was in a traffic accident the other day, and her husband unfortunately passed away. She also suffered major injuries to her legs, and she's going to be confined to a wheelchair. What? Is that true? Now that I think about it, come over the last few weeks, even though I used to run into her so much, I stopped running into Miss Tabitha like that. I couldn't believe that's what had happened while I hadn't seen her. As I was shocked, from behind me, I suddenly heard a sharp voice. Hey, you there! Can you move? You're in the way! When I turned around, in a place lower than I thought, Miss Tabitha was there. It was true. She was really confined to a wheelchair. Miss Kathy and Miss Sarah looked a bit awkward. They were probably afraid that maybe she overheard our conversation. But then perhaps that rubbed her the wrong way, because Miss Tabitha said in a bad mood, You're in the way! Move! And can you stop looking down on me? As she said that, she pressed the elevator button and she tried to go inside, but perhaps she wasn't able to maneuver the wheelchair well yet, because Miss Tabitha bumped into the side of the elevator. She kept trying to go back in a number of times, but maybe she was panicking because she couldn't get in at all. And the doors started to close on her. Oh, that's dangerous! Panicking, Miss Kathy was the closest to her, and she pressed the button so the doors wouldn't close. But then, You don't need to do something so unnecessary! Huh? Hey, Miss Kathy was just doing that for you. Oh, shut up! I don't need to ask anybody to help me. Because you people were in my way, that's why this happened to me. To our shock, Miss Tabitha got angry at us that she wasn't able to get in the elevator, and she started to make it our fault. Oh dear, well, this is a problem, isn't it? When this happened, Miss Kathy and Miss Sarah also seemed irritated. Hey, what's with that? But also, that's right. When I think about everything up until now, there's no reason for me to help you anyway. That's right. Even though we were just trying to do the right thing, it was almost like she was complaining about it. As they said that and the two of them were talking, Miss Tabitha wasn't able to move her wheelchair well at all and was struggling. All of this was happening, but then one more time the door started to close and... Oh, come on, I have no choice. I rushed over to the button and strongly pressed it. But then Miss Tabitha jumped in her wheelchair for a second. But as expected, she started making a fuss. Like I said, you don't need to do that! Yeah, I get it. Can you just be quiet? You're saying that, but you despise me, don't you? Are you trying to talk down to me? Look down at me! What the hell? Even though you're peasants on the lower floors! Normally, she was the one that was looking down on us and belittling us, and she was the one being looked down on this time, and she couldn't maneuver her wheelchair well either. She looked frustrated and her face turned bright red and she looked like she was about to start crying at any moment. I let out one sigh and I said this to Miss Sarah. Miss Sarah, I'm sorry to ask this, but can you press this button over here? Mrs. Sarah didn't seem happy about it, but she pressed it for me. What? Sure, well, if you're the one asking, Miss Penny. Thank you. And also, Miss Kathy, would you mind holding my bags just a bit? Sure, if you say so, Miss Penny. I'm sorry about it. Well then, here we go. There! And I went around Miss Tabitha and I grabbed the wheelchair and started pushing it. But then Miss Tabitha started to get flustered and panicked. What? Hey, no! Why should I have to be helped by someone like you? Stop it, right now! Oh my goodness, this person is so loud. You be quiet. You better not misunderstand. It seems like you went off on your own and misunderstood, so let me just say this. This isn't for your sake. Huh? We all want to go upstairs, and we can't wait around for you to drag us around like this. We're all busy, and we don't have time to be keeping up with your complaints every single time. What is it? Oh, are you going to get out? You want to get on, don't you? In that case, stay quiet. Miss Tabitha was quiet for a while, but then she just let out a growl. My goodness, why can't she just sincerely say thank you? If she said just one word, please help me, both of us would be able to comfortably be here. Well, I already knew that she wasn't the type of person to be able to do that, and even if I said it was for her sake, she wouldn't have accepted it sincerely either. And that's why this was the only way to do it. It was a little bit rough way to do it, but I had no choice. She seemed frustrated, and that was pointless, because I'm the type of woman that when I decide to do something, I do it. I'll go with you to the 30th floor. I'm sure you can't get out of the elevator well on your own anyway. As I said that, the four of us got into the elevator, but Miss Tabitha was looking down the whole time and didn't say anything. Miss Kathy and Miss Sarah got off on their respective floors, and even when she was left alone with me, she stayed quiet the whole time. We finally got to the 30th floor, and when I pushed Miss Tabitha out in front of the elevators, that was all she said, and she disappeared. And she was so bad at moving the wheelchair when she did. Well, she's probably going to get used to it from now on, but that must be difficult. For now, she was probably going to take this instance, and she's not going to be able to harass us any further than this. Or at least, that's what I thought. But then, 3 days after that, again, I ran into Miss Tabitha at the entrance. Oh my, Miss Tabitha, hello! Well, I was just being polite, but I am a human being with manners. Even though I might be frustrated, I still greet people properly. Even though I thought she might complain to me again. She just gave me a slight nod, but didn't say anything to me. And then, with a smooth push of her wheelchair, she went into the elevator. Oh my, it looks like she's gotten better at it. If she was able to get used to it in just 3 days, she must have been practicing quite a lot at home. Maybe she's more serious than I expected, that woman. And then when I got into the elevator after her, to my shock, Miss Tabitha pressed the 3rd floor button for me. What? Glancing over at me, I was shocked. Miss Tabitha whispered in a small voice. Because you helped me the other day. Huh? Is it just me or are her ears a little red? Is she blushing? Oh, my, well, thank you. What? No, I should be the one for that day. Well, what was that? Thank you. She was looking down, but those were probably words she desperately squeezed out. Miss Tabitha, I'm sure it was a hard time, wasn't it? Would you like to talk to me a little bit? Huh? Listen, I think that we should try talking to each other more. What do you think? Oh, that's true. But then to my surprise, Tabitha said she would invite me up to her place. And the apartment to the 30th floor, all jokes aside, truly was huge. But you know, being in this room alone, I'm sure it must be pretty lonely. And plus, living in a wheelchair seemed like it was really difficult. To begin with, the elevator of the 30th floor is probably so high that she could barely reach it. I'm sure it must be inconvenient. I spoke just as I had felt and told Miss Tabitha that I was worried about her. But then, Miss Tabitha little by little slowly started to talk to me. Because I just moved here, I didn't have anyone to talk to. But ever since I was little, I've been shy and I thought I wanted to become friends with somebody, but I wasn't able to speak to anybody. Well, and plus, because I'd never had any friends that I was close to, I didn't know how to interact with people, and I don't have any kids, and my husband passed before me. I don't know what to do anymore. I want to talk to somebody. I wanted somebody to listen to me, but I'm not good at these things, and I didn't know what to talk about, and I was so afraid of the conversation with somebody stopping, and then... But I tried to talk, but whenever I try to talk, everything comes out the wrong way, and I just end up saying things that sound like I'm harassing the other person. Oh goodness, well, she really isn't very good at these things, is she? Talking to people like that, who does she think she was going to become friends with? Not only that, but what shocked me was that she was actually happy when I spoke to her, and that she actually wanted to become friends with me straight away. But then the strategy that she came up with, it sure did make me laugh. She went out of her way to research the time I would come home from picking Paul up from the preschool, and she would purposefully time coming home from shopping at the same time. Even taking her trash in the morning, she would hold on to the trash and wait for me to come down. Apparently, she was doing her best to match my timing, but I'm on the 3rd floor, right? That's why I always get off quickly. That's why she would panic and try to talk quickly, but I would always end up sounding like harassment. On top of that, because I'd have a young child with me, she had a hard time finding the right timing, and that made it even harder to talk to. But even still, she didn't need to say it in such a bullying way. Well, I also have experience with being a little clumsy and making some mistakes. In the end, the reality was that because of her words and her attitude being bad, she made me uncomfortable. I told her that I wanted to properly know that, and she went a little quiet. But even still, I should acknowledge her efforts in trying to talk to me multiple times, and it seems like she felt sorry about it, and I thought then, in the end, I might be able to become friends with this person, especially because today the misunderstanding was solved. That's why I decided to make a suggestion. Hey, Miss Tabitha, if you'd like, the apartment next door to mine is open. What do you think about moving? What? With a shocked look on her face, she looked over at me. I'm always at home too, and especially in the afternoon I'm alone and I don't have anyone to talk to. And if I'm your next door neighbor, I could also help you with shopping and things like that. But you're pregnant right now. I can't be a burden to you like that. It's fine, I'm in my last trimester, and the doctor told me it's better for me to move around a little. After I give birth, if I have trouble with raising the 2 children, it would be nice if you could help me too. I don't mind that at all, but even though I was saying such horrible things to you. Oh, it's fine. Little things like that. I don't plan on caring about them forever. You're just a little clumsy and you're shy, right? Miss Tabitha, right? You're the same as my husband. But then Miss Tabitha was crying. And it seemed like I was the one that made her cry, since she didn't have any friends up until now. She said she never had anybody worry about her like this, and she was happy about it. Did you know? In this apartment building, up to the 3rd floor, the inside of the apartments are all accessible. What? Really? I hadn't thought about the lower floors at all, and when we came here I only looked at the penthouse, so... See, there it is again. Are you looking down on me? Huh? No, wait, I'm sorry. It's fine, you're probably just an extreme airhead, that's all. As I was giggling, Miss Tabitha also seemed relieved, and a smile came over her face. To tell you the truth, up until 2 years ago, our family was living together with my mother. Because she was also in a wheelchair, we were looking for an accessible apartment, and that's why we moved here. Even though I told her we should live on the 1st floor, but my mom insisted she wanted a place with a good view, so we chose the highest floor with accessible apartments, which was the 3rd floor. My mother was no longer with us, but the apartment had lots of memories and we didn't want to leave. And to raise children, having an accessible apartment was convenient, so that's why we stayed here ever since. If you're okay with it, Miss Tabitha, you should come with me and you can look at my apartment. Well, compared to this current room, the view and apartment size are gonna drop drastically though. That's okay. Yeah, I'll go. I'd love to see you. I've never been interested in apartments on the lower floors, but I want to see it. There it is again. Now it's a strike. Huh? I'm sorry. Did I say something rude? Looks like you've become capable of apologizing sincerely. Oh, you're right. You don't need to worry about it, because come over. We're friends after all. Friends? Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much, Miss Benny. Even as she was crying, Miss Tabitha put on a big smile and she grabbed and squeezed my hand. Miss Tabitha looked truly happy. After Miss Tabitha and I started contacting each other back and forth, we became pretty good friends. Maybe she doesn't get as nervous when it comes to text, but she sounds really kind of polite. If only she could show that to people whenever she meets them in person. And today, she's finally gonna become my next-door neighbor. Well, then maybe I should go greet her. When I pressed the doorbell, there was a slightly long pause, and then I heard the next-door neighbor answer. I heard the sound of lock being quickly opened, and the door swung open. Welcome, Miss Penny. Miss Tabitha, I look forward to being your next-door neighbor from today. Paul was pretty hesitant in the beginning, but after we were talking for a while, by the end he was sitting on her lap. Oh, you're so cute, Paul. I hope we can keep getting along from here. I'm sure Miss Tabitha was also relieved with this, and I think I'll have her help me with raising the kids too. Well then, on that day in the evening, today we were going to go out shopping for groceries for dinner that day. But there was one more good thing that happened that day. When we got out of the elevator at the lobby, Miss Kathy and Miss Sarah were there. The two of them saw me and they waved to try to say hi, but when they saw Miss Tabitha with me, they stopped in their tracks. But of course they did, because of everything that happened up until now. Well, I can understand what they want to say, but I guess I have no choice. I need to get in between here, and as I was thinking that, I'm really sorry. Suddenly, in a loud voice, Miss Tabitha apologized to the two of them. The two of them were shocked, but facing them firmly, Miss Tabitha apologized for everything. Everything up until now, and about the other day with the wheelchair incident. I know this isn't something that can be solved with just an apology, but I just wanted to become friends with all of you. But I ended up hurting everybody. I'm truly sorry, and also about that day, I'm grateful from the bottom of my heart. When Miss Tabitha apologized so sincerely, Miss Kathy and Miss Sarah seemed a little flustered. It's fine, you don't need to apologize that much. That's right, it doesn't bother us anymore. Miss Tabitha seemed happy and smiled when she heard that, and as usual, her eyes were turning red. After this, Miss Tabitha started to gain the trust of the other residents of the apartment as the clumsy and shy but cute young woman. And my relationship with Miss Tabitha is better than ever. Now Phoebe was born, and Paul. With Miss Tabitha's help, I'm looking after these two kids in the afternoon. Thanks for always being here, Miss Tabitha. When I said that, it's totally fine. I'm not lonely, and I'm also happy. If anything, I want you to let me help, because unlike you, Miss Penny, both of them are so calm and they're so cute. Hey, what was that supposed to mean? Huh? Did I end up doing it again? Well, you're my best friend, so I guess I'll forgive you. The way we met was the worst, but now, like this, we've become best friends. You never know what can happen in life.
Thank you for watching! What kind of crazy people will we get to see next? Stay tuned for more!